Yes, I have changed my location. It's a much more lively one, I believe, and also my room is filled with the cats, so I can't really film there right now. So out here I am. Now, let's all be honest here. When you think about the NEET exam, it's really testing you on everything. It's not just academics, it's not just going to be testing you on your memory skills or your ability to conceptualize. It also tests your speed, your ability to work under pressure, and your coping mechanisms to stress. You name it, the NEET exam tests it. And what I learned during my preparation was when I was not able to face whatever the NEET exam expected me to be able to do, that was when I kind of suffered from these burnouts. I had these recurrent feelings of frustration, disappointment, and maybe the people who are watching this video also might be on the verge of a breakdown or mentally or something like that. So yes, in this video, I am going to be focusing on some of the techniques which I feel that every NEET aspirant should be able to use and should be able to know, because when I learnt about them and when I started adopting these techniques, looking back at it now in the future, I know that these are the things which really helped me. So I'm going to be sharing that with all of you today. Hello, I'm Aisiri Bhat, and before we get back into the video, which you can skip to if you look at the timestamps, I kind of wanted to talk about the channel name. It's just called Time Out with Aisiri because although this is not going to be a study channel, there are going to be a lot of videos regarding my NEET preparation and my NEET journey, so a lot of academic stuff as well. So with that intention, I was thinking that the viewers are probably going to be on a break from studies, so that's why they're coming on this channel. So it's like when they're taking a time out, they are looking back into Aisiri's videos. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. That's why it's called Time Out with Aisiri. Yeah, that's it right now. My cats come. So yeah, y'all can skip to the video again. Bye! Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is acceptance. Now, acceptance is one of the most important things that I've learned as a NEET aspirant. And it's one of the simplest things to understand, but through experience, I'm telling you that it's quite hard to actually adapt it into your lifestyle. But really, the only way to constructively enhance your NEET journey is if you accept your present circumstance. Because, to be honest, NEET is an exam of elimination and not selection. When there are 21 lakh or plus students writing this exam, nobody cares what's going on with you and how your preparation is not really going well, except you. So if you do not accept the way you are right now or the kind of phase you are in your NEET journey, then you're most likely going to be eliminated from this entire scheme. Now, what you get by actually accepting your circumstance? Well, you really do get a chance to evaluate yourself and where you actually stand in this entire timeline. When you sit back and be true to yourself, that is, when you acknowledge literally everything, your backlogs, the fact that you don't go to dummy schools, or the fact that your performance is not going the way you want it to, or the fact that you have so many inevitable tasks that you must do even though they have no relation to your NEET journey, that's when you realize how you're going to go about things. When you start accepting the way you are, the way everything is being handled right now, can you actually make improvement and bring more changes which will help you to enhance yourself? Let's take an example to really understand this philosophy and ideology of acceptance. Well, I didn't really go to a dummy school. I went to this regular school for 11th and 12th, wherein I had classes every day, 6 days a week, and every single day for 9 hours, and after that I would have to come back home, attend the coaching sessions. And this was really frustrating for me because I'm someone who really relies on my self-study, and the fact that my entire day would go having to attend classes which were meant for the board exams, which I really didn't care about, was really frustrating for me. And throughout 11th standard, I would actually be venting out and ranting about how bad that situation of mine was. I was actually quite jealous of all these students who had the ability to do all their self-study in a day because they had no essentiality of having to go to school. But what I slowly began to realize was no amount of frustration, no amount of venting out was going to change my circumstance of having to go to school. Nothing would be changing that. That stressor was a permanent thing. I had to go to school whether I liked it or not. That's just how it worked for me. And if I chose to vent out, I wasn't really doing anything. Rather, I was just creating these outbursts of anger, which was actually reducing my ability to concentrate when I did get the time to self study. So, when I slowly began to realize this, I thought that it's best to just accept this circumstance of mine. And what I realized when I was able to accept it was that I could actually have a way around this problem. When I accepted it, it became clear to me that I can't change this at all. So, what I'm trying to get at is that once I accepted the circumstance that I was in, I was slowly able to change my attitude to it, and I was able to incorporate some things which were able to elevate my positivity around this situation. Second thing I want to present to all of you is to be realistic. And this is something which I know that I do have to elaborate on. Well, see, once you accepted your circumstance and once you've analyzed what point of your NEET preparation you are in, you start to think about the things which you can do and the things which you cannot do. So, based on which point of your NEET preparation you're in, you have so many advantages and a few disadvantages as well. So, let's say you're in the beginning of 11th standard, then you have the advantage of being able to stick to your own methods of self study, and you still have the advantage of experimenting and finding out what works for you. Let's say you're at the beginning of 12th standard, you have the ability to analyze about your preparation during 11th standard. You know what has gone wrong and what has gone right. Or let's say it's the last month in your NEET preparation, then you for sure do know that you cannot be doing these new techniques. You have to stick to what revision you know best. Let's say you have very limited time to do a lot of syllabus at hand. You need to be smart enough to kind of pinpoint on how you can conceptualize all the concepts better and in a quicker manner, because that is what is going to get you through. Even if you make just one concept clear but it took you weeks and weeks, then it's not really realistic. You have to be logical and break down the syllabi into chunks and then prioritize. So again, let's take an example to understand about this ideology of being realistic. And it's very windy here, so if there's a lot of noise problem, I'm sorry about it. Yes, I had accepted the fact that I don't go to a dummy school. I go to this regular school followed by coaching sessions, and with that little time I have, I had to fit in my self study. Now, truly speaking, acceptance alone would get me nowhere. It would just leave me in this pessimistic pool of doubt and not knowing what to do next. But what I had to do and what I did do at that point was kind of manage with what I have. Although I've already always been into academics and I have all these unique ways of studying whatnot, speaking and studying, writing and learning, not all of these techniques would be working and would not actually fit into this short schedule of mine. So I had to be realistic and cut down on the things and sacrifice some of the techniques I used to study just because I didn't have the time for it. But I would say that if I had not been realistic at that point of time, and if I had spent all the hours I have in just writing and learning, even when it was not necessary, then I would be in a very bad situation afterwards and it would not be going in the way I wanted to. Also, I was really beginning to rely on these YouTube educational videos, the one shot lectures, and all these old physics videos. And it was really those videos which I knew that I had to incorporate in my self study in order to really be able to do well in the NEET exam. I would not be able to watch all the videos that I wanted to, even if it was at 2x speed, if I had not given up on something. So I made it a point to kind of give up on my coaching classes. I stopped attending that, and with that left time, I would watch the YouTube lectures. So what I'm trying to get at here was that if at that point of time I had let my emotions get the better of me, that is the fear of being scolded by my teachers in the coaching class, or the fear that my self-study and looking into YouTube educational videos would not be enough to do well in the NEET exam, if I had let those emotions, kind of, what do you call it? If I had let those emotions kind of get the better of me, then I would have stuck with those old methods, and that would have really taken a toll on my performance in the NEET exam. To truly speak from the heart, to actually study the NCRT textbook for 2 years from the NEET point of view is quite literally hell. And alongside that, to be a member of this rat race It's really hard to maintain that same motivation to continue studying, even if you're really into academics like me. This is where the third point comes in, that is, to make studying fun. And this is a really broad topic to be talking about, but it was really my crazy methods of studying which really allowed me to continue maintaining that hope and maintaining that confidence to keep on going. So, what exactly do I mean by making studying fun? It is probably a bit hard to understand, but I'll try, alright? See, the NCRT contents for 11th and 12th is pretty humongous, and you can look at that enormous content in two ways. Either you can be pessimistic and be like, oh my god, how do I cover such a huge syllabus in such a short span of time? Otherwise, you can do something what I did. You can be like, oh my god, there's so much of syllabus on different topics. That means I can assign my own methods to and my own approaches to studying different things. So what you're supposed to do is you're not supposed to look at the content that NCRT offers on the whole. That is, you're supposed to divide a chapter into so many chunks, and each chunk should be assigned into a particular category, which is probably going to have a different approach to studying. And I know that this is a bit of a weird way and not the best way of explaining how you can make studying fun, but I'm going to show you an example of what I did when it came to inorganic chemistry. So look at that. Most students hate inorganic chemistry, and I was no exception, mind you. But again, once I accepted the fact that I had no other go but to master this section of chemistry if I really wanted to do well in the NEET exam, I tried to find the best possible way in which I could learn all of these facts which this section of chemistry presented to me. And that's exactly what I did. I took this opportunity to make something as boring as inorganic chemistry to something which was so much more appealing and fun for me to learn and do well in. So I created all of these tables, charts, and because I realized that a lot of the points of this inorganic chemistry was repeated in the textbook, I made concise versions of the same, made these summaries, pasted them on my walls. And by far, the best thing which I did was create these kind of audios wherein voice recordings. So I would be reading out some of these charts which I'd done in like all of these fun voices and mechanisms. And I know that even though it was really fun to make it, it was just so effective. And that's exactly what I'm trying to point out here. Sometimes you need to take that extra mile to do something so that you can learn something. What I'm trying to get at is I could not learn the facts of inorganic chemistry just by reading the textbook over and over again. I tried it, but it didn't work for me. And it might work for you, but it didn't work for me. And so I didn't give up based on that information. Even though it took so much more time to make something like audios and make these charts, I knew that if I did do it, then I would be actually learning something. So sometimes it will take more time to make studying fun, but if that is going to work for you, then why not do it? Okay, I'm editing me over here, and I'm so sorry for disturbing the video again, like I always do. But the thing is, while I was editing, I just noticed that I've spoken for way too long. Although I'm just giving 5 techniques, I've elaborated on them so much that it's kind of exceeding the time limit. Like, who would want to click on a 20-minute video? Certainly not me. So I've decided to break the video into two parts. There's going to be a part one and there's going to be a part two, and I'll upload them at the same time. So if you want a continuation, you just have to click on the next video. But for now, I'm going to have to end it here because I don't know, I would not want to click on such a long video. And this was so unintentional. But yes, if you like the video, you can go to the next one. If you didn't, then you're probably not going to click on the next one. But yes, please do comment down below on what you thought about it and if it's actually helping all of you.